Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the USDA NIFA Higher Education Multicultural Scholars Program Technical Assistance webinar. I am Courtney Simmons, a National Program Leader here at NIFA. Before we get started, I would like to provide you with some information that is specific to Zoom tech support and accessing the recording post-webinar. If you need Zoom tech support, please contact the number listed on the screen. The webinar recording will be posted to YouTube, and that link will be provided on the MSP webpage. You can use the QR code at the top of the screen to access the MSP webpage. If you have questions, please type them in the Q&A box. To kick us off, I'd like to share USDA's non-discrimination statement. In accordance with federal civil rights law and U.S. Department of Agriculture civil rights regulations and policies, the USDA, its agencies, offices, and employees, and institutions participating in or administering USDA programs are prohibited from discriminating based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, age, marital status, family parental status, income derived from a public assistance program, political beliefs, or reprisal or retaliation for prior civil rights activity in any program or activity conducted or funded by USDA. Remedies and complaint filing deadlines vary by program or incident. This slide contains contact information for individuals with disabilities who require reasonable accommodations. In addition to contacting the NIFA or the responsible agency, you may contact the USDA's Target Center or the Federal Relay Service. To file a program discrimination complaint, please complete the USDA Program Discrimination Complaint Form, the AD 3027, or submit a letter to USDA by mail, email, or fax. USDA is an equal opportunity provider, employer, and lender. For those of you just joining us, again, I am Courtney Simmons, a National Program Leader here at USDA NIFA, and I work alongside Mr. Donovan McLaurin, who also provides necessary program support. Dr. Michelle Shelsky-Santos, as well as Ms. Sierra Campbell, are also providing backup support for the program if Donovan and I are unavailable. The purpose of today's webinar is to provide information about the Higher Education Multicultural Scholars Program. We will cover a range of topics, including a NIFA overview. We will provide a program overview that is specific to the MSP. We'll also delve into application details. We will share some pertinent information regarding proposal evaluation, and then we will end by providing you with some additional resources. NIFA is the extramural science funding agency within the department's Research, Education, and Economics mission area. We invest in and support initiatives that ensure the long-term viability of agriculture. We provide funding and strategic leadership for programs that ensure discoveries in agriculture-related sciences and technologies reach the people who can put them into practice. NIFA programs support a range of food and agricultural science topics. Today, and as you review the request for application, you will learn that all of the science topics shown on this screen are supported by the MSP. Now transitioning to focus specifically on the MSP and the purpose and the priorities of the program. The purpose of the MSP is to provide scholarships to support recruiting, engaging, retaining, mentoring, and training committed multicultural scholars, resulting in either a bachelor's degree within the food and agricultural science discipline or a doctor of veterinary medicine degree. The overarching goal of the MSP is to encourage outstanding students from groups that are historically underrepresented and underserved to pursue and complete bachelor's degrees in food and agricultural sciences or within a DVM program that will ultimately lead to a more diverse and highly skilled workforce. As noted in our RFA, underrepresented and underserved groups are those whose representation among food and agricultural professionals is disproportionately less than their proportion in the general population, as indicated in standard statistical references or as documented on a case-by-case basis by national survey data. Individuals are not eligible to apply to the MSP. Applicants must be institutions that confer a bachelor's degree in one or more disciplines in the food and agricultural sciences or a DVM degree. Only the following are eligible to apply to the MSP: land-grant institutions, colleges and universities having significant minority enrollment, other colleges and universities, and institutes or research foundations maintained by an eligible college or university. Institutions that have not previously applied are especially encouraged to do so. Please note that in addition to there being an eligibility for institutions, there is also eligibility requirements for participating scholars. And you can look at the eligibility requirements for scholars in the request for application. MSP projects must be single function education project types. Projects must focus on developing skills necessary for employment or for entering graduate programs in food and agricultural sciences. Projects must show direct alignment with one of the following: increasing the number of graduates, improving the technical competencies needed for the workforce, and enhancing the diversity of the workforce in food and agricultural sciences. There are two grant types supported through this program. The first grant type that I will describe is the MSP, the Multicultural Scholarship Program grant type. Applicants, all applicants will apply for this grant type. Applicants are strongly encouraged to detail how scholar activities will use USDA investments. Proposals must articulate how the projects or how project activities will create innovative structures for scholar training. Projects must establish a baccalaureate and/or DVM degree programs in which scholars can pursue summer research opportunities or other relevant learning opportunities. Projects must describe how the project team will offer professional mentoring in the food and agricultural sciences, as well as in DVM programs. The projects must increase the number of students from underrepresented and underserved groups. The projects must provide leadership skill building opportunities for all projects. And there must be performance measures for evaluating the overall effectiveness of the undergraduate and or DVM training. While all applicants must apply to receive the MSP grant, only some applicants might choose to pursue SEL funding. The special experiential learning opportunity must provide research projects at institutions and organizations other than the home institution. So for applicants who are pursuing the additional SEL funds, the activities must, or if the activities include research projects, the research projects must be conducted at other institutions or other organizations other than the home institution. SEL funds can support apprenticeships and internships or similar participatory learning experiences. For example, practicums for DVM students, internships abroad or study abroad programs, as well as externships in the private and public sector. Please note that while SEL funds can support study and learning abroad opportunities, the study abroad programs and activities must be relevant to the scholar's major. And SEL funds can support other relevant activities described in the request for application. SEL funds may be used only to pay living expenses, travel expenses, additional tuition, and or a cash stipend for SEL supported scholars. SEL funds cannot be used to increase annual stipend amounts for MSP scholars participating in activities that have already been approved and funded by the MSP program. MSP grantees are allowed to hold one SEL grant in the lifetime of their MSP award. All eligible applicants must apply to receive MSP funds. There is an option for applicants to apply to receive the special experiential learning funds. Applicants cannot request the SEL funds as standalone. They must apply to receive MSP funds. Each application or each applicant may request any combination of multicultural scholarships and special experiential learning funds not to exceed $250,000. NIFA reserves the right to fund fewer scholars than requested in an application and to partially fund SEL requests. There is no limit to the number of applications an eligible institute may submit. However, an institution may only receive support up to a maximum of $250,000 in awards for the FY24 cycle. Project directors who have received MSP funding in the last 5 years are welcome to apply again. But please note, the proposal must differ significantly in the scopes and the objectives from previously funded MSP projects. Funding requests for this program are restricted to student scholarships and cost of education allowances, and if applicable, special experiential learning funds. Please review Table 8 for the maximum award amounts. Applicants must adhere to the funding amounts per student that is described starting on page 22 of the RFA. Scholarship support must not exceed $9,000 per student per year for up to 4 years. The cost of education allowance support must not exceed $2,500 per student per year for up to 4 years. The one-time SEL award support may not exceed $4,000 per student. Please note that Table 9 is really for illustrative purposes only. Applicants, your project team, and your institution must determine the appropriate cohort size and SEL participation. Again, Table 9 is just used for example purposes only. There is no matching requirement for this program, and matching resources will not be factored into the review process. Now that I've shared a bit about the program's purpose and the priority, and now that you have some idea of like the budget requirement and any relevant restrictions, I'll transition to describe what is expected of an applicant. All applications are due by 5 p.m. Eastern Time on April 1st, 2024. All applicants must submit their application through grants.gov. Please work with your institution's point of contact to ensure that you submit your application prior to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, April 1st. Please note that we are still awaiting 2024 appropriations, but the total funding that may be available to this program in fiscal year 2024 is $1.25 million. The program code for this program is KF. Please select the appropriate program code when submitting your application. We cannot guarantee that your application will make it to us meaning NIFA, if you do not identify the appropriate program code. The maximum funding available per award, and that is including the SEL funds, is $250,000. There are several key components of an application, and we don't have time to really go into detail about every key component. Please review the RFA and the NIFA grants application guide to learn more about the key components. But today I will spend some time just detailing some of the information needed that you need to include as an applicant in your application. All projects or all application must include a project abstract, which is a project summary. All applications must include a project narrative as well as a budget. All applicants must include a data management plan. And for the MSP, all applicants must include a mentoring plan as well as an evaluation plan. The project narrative must include a rationale and a significance. So who are you proposing to work with as a project team, and why are you proposing to work with this population of students? What's the approach? Include the quality of education, or really describe the objectives and the activities. The project narrative must describe or include an evaluation, an assessment, or a description of how the overall project will be evaluated, and how individual trainings and opportunities offered to scholars will be evaluated. The project narrative must describe the level of institutional support and resources, and the project narrative must also include key personnel. So who's responsible for what? All applications, which include, so in addition to what was just previously described, project narratives for applicants that are requesting the SEL funds must include a description of the SEL, including the objectives and its activities, as well as the measurable objectives. So how will the activities be measured and monitored? The applications must include and describe the SEL personnel, and that project narrative must also include a rationale for incorporating SEL activities into the project. If you are an applicant who is planning to resubmit your application, you must respond to the previous comments or to the previous reviewer comments. Please include in your project narrative a one-page response to the reviewer comments. This should be the first page of your project narrative, and you should title it Response to Previous Review. This one-page requirement does not count against the 20-page limit of the project narrative. If the project director is submitting a proposal and has held an MSP award in the last 5 years, the proposal must include a progress report on the award. The progress report should not exceed 2 pages, and that does not count against the page limit of the project narrative. The progress report should include a list of the objectives, and the project director must identify whether or not he or she met the established objectives. The progress report must also list graduated MSP scholars, and it should also list and describe like any new curricula developed under that award. The progress report should include the grant number for the award, and the progress report should include an explanation of how the proposed project differs significantly in scope and objectives from the previous award. The project narrative shall not exceed 20 pages of written text, and this includes figures and text and charts and tables. Formatting shall be 1-inch margins, no smaller than 12-point font, double spaced. Project narratives that are formatted incorrectly and or exceed the page limit will not have the benefit of review. There must be, so every application should include a mentoring plan for each scholar type. For the MSP, there are 2 scholar types, undergraduates as well as DVM scholars. If you are proposing to work with both scholar types, you will need to submit 2 mentoring plans. The mentoring plans should not exceed 2 pages. So if you are, for example, proposing to work with undergraduate scholars, then your mentoring plan should not exceed 2 pages. If you are proposing to work with DVM students, that mentoring plan should not exceed 2 pages. In the mentoring plan, you must describe the roles and the responsibilities of the project director and co-project director. The mentoring plan should also articulate the training and the credentials of these mentors. Mentors may be from academia, industry, government, or they can be student peers. The mentoring plan should incorporate a description of mentoring activities, and it should describe the process to ensure reasonable accommodations for program participants with disabilities or challenges with accessing program activities. Another key component of the application is what we call a data management plan. The data management plan will describe the type of data that the project team will collect. The plan will describe the format of the data and how the data will be stored and preserved, and how the data will also be shared with the public. To learn more about the data management plan and what is required for the data management plan, please visit the data management plan webpage, And if you have questions, feel free to contact me. NIFA only accepts electronic submission of applications through grants.gov. All application documents must be in PDF. If your application is not in PDF, or if there are files that are not in PDF, we won't be able to review it. And again, we will return your application to you. NIFA will use the following NIFA will use the following process to evaluate your application. At least 3 reviewers will review your application. The reviewers will provide a written review, and in that written review, they will describe or summarize the strengths and the weaknesses of the application. The reviewers will then meet together to discuss the applications, and then they will come to a consensus on the final ranking of applications. The reviewers will use the following to evaluate projects. They will look at the quality of education and the impact on the food and agricultural sciences. They will also look at institutional support and overall management of the project. They'll look at the key personnel, partnerships, and collaboration. They will also note the personnel's experience with working with the undergraduate and DVM student population. They will also review any evaluation and assessment plans. In addition to what was previously described, applicants who are pursuing the SEL funds will also be evaluated based on the additional criterion. The potential for the SEL activities to advance the overall quality of the scholar's education, the proposed approach for incorporating SEL activities, and institution commitment and resources to enhance the overall SEL experience for the scholars. Reviewers will also pay attention to key personnel and evaluate key personnel. And again, reviewers will also look at the program evaluation process. On average, a competitive program takes about 3 to 5 months from the proposal due date to an award being made to an institution. Because we are still awaiting 24 appropriations, we cannot guarantee that we will be able to stick to this timeline this year. In the event that we are able to stick to this timeline, knowing that proposals are due April 1st, NIFA will notify you with a proposal acknowledgement within a few weeks. All applicants will be notified no later than July with a funding decision. If you are being recommended for an award, we ask that you respond to the request for additional documents within 10 business days. Again, we cannot guarantee that we will be able to stick to this timeline in 2024, but in the event that we do, all applicants will be notified no later than July. And if you are being recommended for an award, we do ask that you respond immediately and you provide any requested documents within 10 business days. And this will ensure that we can get the necessary award recommendation packages ready for our awards management division colleagues. So in addition to this webinar, NIFA will host other webinars and workshops. So if you would like to stay abreast of upcoming events, please visit NIFA's events webpage. For example, there is another MSP webinar that is scheduled to take place February 26th from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That webinar will feature a panel of current project directors who will provide an overview of their project. If you would like just to get an idea of the types of projects that have been funded through the MSP, I highly encourage you to attend this webinar. So in addition to visiting the events page to learn more about some of our upcoming events or even some of our past events, I also encourage you to look at the resources that we have online. Last year, we hosted a grant writing workshop. If you if you click on the QR code that's on the left side of the screen, you will have access to a web page that contains all of the recordings from last year, as well as any like supplemental resources. NIFA is organizing and hosting another technical assistance grant writing workshop from March 4th through March 8th. So please, if you are available and interested, please go ahead and register to join. In addition to maintaining an events page, we also have an upcoming RFA release calendar, and we also have a web page that contains all of our funding opportunities. So again, if you are interested in learning more about our programs, and if you would like to just stay up to date on funding opportunities, be sure to visit our RFA and funding opportunities webpage. And I am happy to take any questions at this time.